Like, no, this guy's a liar. He's full of shit, and definitely getting worse and worse. And this week, he is by far the most biased, spin, lies, worse than anybody else on YouTube. Okay, again, you don't like me, you don't like my delivery, fine. Just listen to I'll tell you facts. Okay, he won't. He was just, and all these people are saying this, and these people are saying, like, what people, dude? Who? Quote, show me all these people. But, there's a bunch of examples of this just utter fool, liar. I mean, I bust him left and right. I mean, what more do I need to do? He's on this train saying, trying to save GGG. He's trying to save the guy from, the facts that he's a pussy, fighting a fucking middleweight, or fighting a welterweight. He's been on a big narrative that all the middleweights, the majority of middleweights fight welterweights, okay? Happens all the time. This is what he's saying. He said the majority. He used that words. Happens all the time, And he'll keep bringing up Sugar Ray Leonard, Hearns. These guys are guys that went on to win, 168 titles. Duran, 160 titles. These guys are, you can't say just because a guy fought at welterweight at some point, all of a sudden they're fighting welterweights. No. You go by who the guy fight in his last weight. The last time he fought, like right now, Golovkin, he's fighting a guy that fought his last fight at welterweight, so he's fighting a welterweight. Okay? If Kell Brook fought at 154, his last fight, no, he's not fighting. He's fighting a guy that fought at 154, Everybody moves up. Okay? Now he's going to keep coming back to Sugar Ray Leonard, yeah. Sugar Ray Leonard, an all-time great. Okay? A guy that when he retired, the last time that he was on the pound, another thing, yeah, Precise Presenter, PP said, Ray Leonard wasn't even ranked when he fought Hagler. Dude, this guy's trying to compare Ray Leonard to fucking Kell Brook. Yeah, he wasn't ranked because this is how it works, okay? When you retire, you're off the rankings, okay? That's why. The last time that Ray Leonard was on the rankings, before he fought Marvin Hagler, he was number one pound for pound in the world. He was number one welterweight and number one super welterweight, okay? But when you're retired, it doesn't count. Yeah, he came back and fought, but he was in retirement, okay? So he wasn't eligible to be on the list. He came back and fought again real quick, and then he retired again, so he was never on the list, okay? But back to Newton, okay? Again, the majority of all middleweights historically have fought welterweights. When they fight, they're fighting welterweights. They're bringing them up from welter. That's not true. And you know what? Newton, listen very, very closely, okay? Because I'm going to expose you right here. In the history of boxing, ever, boxing history, okay? All middleweight fights of all time, every middleweight fight ever, okay? Every fight ever. Last week, last year, all middleweight fights, less than 1% have a welterweight coming up to fight a middleweight. Out of all the middleweight fights, you can't get as like, how hard is that to understand? Okay, I'm setting the table as basically as you can set it. Okay, you count up every single middleweight fight ever in the history of boxing. Okay, less than 1% have it a middleweight fighting a guy that just came up from welterweight. Less than 1%. Okay? That is a fact. Okay? No spinning, nothing. That is a fact. Okay? Now, you're going to say, well, forget all those. I'm talking about championship fights. Championship fights. Forget like every middleweight fight ever. You're spinning it, Tito. You're spinning it. Okay, we'll have your way. Championship with the belts on the line. Middleweight championship bouts. Forget all middleweight titles, okay? Forget all middleweight fights. Just middleweight titles where there's a belt on the line. Less than 1% of those fights have a welterweight that just fought at welterweight coming up to fight a middleweight. Less than 1%. Newman. So this doesn't happen the majority of the time. It doesn't happen frequently. You know when it happens? Very, very rarely. You want to know how rare? Less than 1%. You drunken village idiot. You are the town drunkard. You know nothing about boxing. You know nothing about what you say. You spin, you lie, because you don't have any friends, nothing. This is the YBTC. This is your life, okay? You scurry home like the rodents that you are. You jump on, you get a couple pea-brained fans, and you're getting a few more, and it makes you happy, okay? It makes you horny, like a sick sexual thing. When you shut off the computer, you go feverishly masturbate to God knows what, but that's Okay, so again, it doesn't happen frequently. It doesn't happen all the time. That's a quote from you. It doesn't happen the majority of the time. It is a very, very rare thing for a middleweight to fight a guy that just fought at welterweight, his last fight. And do you want to know why it's a very, very rare thing? Because it's not fair. That's why. Because the middleweight has an extreme advantage. That's why. Because it's not safe. That's why. Okay? This, Newton, is the reason that we have weight classes. Okay? You stupid, stupid man. Okay? A lot of Golovkin's fans are quote-unquote newbies to the sport. And, there's nothing wrong with that. It's cool. More people, the better. Golovkin's getting on the scene. They're attracting new people to boxing. He's a knockout guy. That's what a lot of people want. And they're getting new attention to boxing. And that's cool, okay? But the problem with Sean Newton is a lot of his viewers, almost all of his people in the comment section and whatnot, almost everyone, just started watching boxing, and they don't know the ins and outs, so they're believing what Newton's telling them. They don't know a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, okay? Newton knows nothing behind the scenes, first of all. Watch this. He talks about, some negotiations like he was there. Watch. What? How do you know this, dude?
And those guys couldn't fucking sign that contract. They couldn't fucking get their fucking pen out of their pockets to sign it without trying to fucking control more and more and more.
How the hell does he know any of this? Was he there? Newton goes by one thing. You know what he's going by? What Eddie Hearn tells you. Okay, of course Eddie Hearn's going to tell you, that the guy was doing this and the guy was doing that. He's going by one guy, and it's on that team. I mean, it's how ridiculous. It's people like Newton. Okay, listen, in politics, I always say, to someone, Bill O'Reilly and, Rachel Maddow, I'll be like, man, if someone offered him 4 times his salary to jump over to MSNBC and talk, be a liberal, if they offered him 4 times his salary, he would do it in a minute, in a second. And they're all like, you're goddamn right he would. That guy's a scumbag. And then I'll say, and if someone offered Rachel Maddow 4 times his salary, she would do it. And they're like, what are you talking about? Of course she wouldn't. There's no way she wouldn't. They just can't see in their mind. They're just so they're so simple, okay? They don't see how the world works, okay? So, he could say, well, Eddie Hearn said this, so it's fact. And I could say, well, Floyd Mayweather Sr. said that Bob Arum's holding up the fight. He'd be like, and he won't believe it for a minute because it's not his guy that's saying it, okay? Like you say, Newton, do some research. Do some research, okay? Now, this is another one of his main problems he's always bitching about, and he does it here. He just totally proves how dumb he is and how he knows nothing about the sport, okay? He's always talking about Laura and Heyman. Heyman could secure a fight for Laura, this, that, and the third, right? Okay, Sean, I'm going to tell you again, which I've said if you watch my videos, okay, and all the new people, Sean's subscribers and whatnot. Heyman can't do any of the things he's saying, okay? Neither can Laura, because, he talks about Heyman securing a big fight at Madison Square Garden for this guy. Okay, listen to me. HBO instituted a policy years ago where they don't deal with Al Heyman. So it doesn't work. So they can't do that. HBO won't deal with him. They have a policy, you know. You just learned something, okay? God, this guy's such a fool. And also, Heyman, okay? You know, Golovkin has a contract with HBO. First right of refusal. HBO has dumped all kinds of money into Gennady Golovkin. Do you think that they're going to let him fight on another network? You bumbling nincompoop, okay? And with Al Heyman, he has a great relationship with Showtime for his fighters, okay? Do you really think that he is going to go to HBO, have one of his fighters go to HBO, and not think twice about it at least, okay? He's got a responsibility to Showtime and them, you know, an unwritten rule, what have you. You know, that's their arch enemy, okay? His relationship with them would go real sour. And what you need in boxing, you know, is to have a network behind you, okay? That's a huge plus to have a network behind you. So why would he fuck all that up, okay? It would take a hell of a lot. You make it sound like it's so easy. Heyman could just make the fight. No. You're wrong, dude. HBO, it's not, dude. Listen, don't listen to this guy, okay? I don't want to sound like a big leaguer, but if it comes down to me and Sean Newton's never even been to a pro fight in his life, okay? I'm a pro reporter. He's not, okay? I've talked to all these people. I continue to talk to these people, okay? You know, my phone is filled with number of referees, trainers, boxers, you know, everybody. Shit. I've even fucking interviewed Golovkin, okay? I've interviewed Kovalev, all that shit. You know, Sean, he interviewed the guy that watches the fucking jockstraps for the Toronto Raptors, you know. This guy's a clown. Listen to the way he talks about, like, Heyman and Laura. Like, he doesn't have a clue how things work on the business aspect. So all you new people, stop listening to Sean Newton. Even if you don't like me, if you know facts, you'll listen to me way before him. I mean, the guy's an alcoholic. I've already proved he doesn't remember what he says and deny stuff that he says because he's a liar.
Well, how can Laura offer fucking GGG a contract? Well, what do you mean? Isn't this basically what happened in this fight? Eubank, his promoter, is offering GGG the contract. Who's fucking Laura's promoter? Al Heyman. He's got tons of fucking money, but he can't make the offer to GGG's team. See, this is where these guys are fucking hypocritical. They fucking continue to tell you this bullshit, but it's not fucking factual, but they continue to fucking sell it to you to make you think, well, obviously the obligation is on GGG to offer Laura money, even though we know, matter-of-factly, that fucking Heyman has far more money than Loeffler and K2 to make fights, a network to fucking show fights. They have way more fucking oomph to make fights
They
happen.
have way more oomph. What?
Fights. They have way more fucking oomph to make fights happen.
And if you notice, Sean's the earlier in the day he makes the videos, he's more coherent. But later on in the day, you know, after he's been nipping at that sauce, he starts like slurring and getting all fucked up. The guy's a total alcoholic.
Fights. They have way more fucking oomph to make fights happen. So if Laura really wanted that fight, his promoter is in a position to make that offer to GG's team.
Again, no, they're not, because to all you newer people out there, you know, HBO will not work with Laura's promoter. So, or, you know, promoters, fighters. HBO won't work with Laura. They've stated this before.
Because it's been so difficult to get guys in the ring.
See, now that's a lie, okay? Historically, he always takes low money. No, he never takes low money. That's a lie. Gennady Golovkin is one of, if not the, highest paid guy on cable, on HBO, okay? The problem is HBO won't throw money at big-name opponents.